Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the air itself turned against you? The stares, the whispers, the laughter not even trying to hide. You tell yourself, ignore it, just keep walking, but deep down, you know, every glance was a blade. That's what bullying feels like. It's not a single word. It's not one joke. It's a frequency, a constant hum of cruelty, trying to convince you that you're less than you are. And here's the first truth you need to hear. Bullying is not about you. It never was. It's a mirror, but a broken one, reflecting the pain of the person who tries to hurt you. Their attack is just them bleeding on you, because they don't know what else to do with their own emptiness. But when you're in it, God, it feels like the world is collapsing. You start shrinking. You begin to wonder if maybe they're right. You question your body, your voice, your worth. That's the cruelty of it. It plants weeds in your mind and waits for you to water them with your silence. And silence. Silence is heavy. You go home and carry it. You stare at the mirror and don't even recognize the reflection. You scroll your phone, hoping for escape. But the same poison shows up there too. It follows you, because bullying is not just an act. It's a shadow that tries to stay attached. But let me ask you, what if you could cut that shadow off? What if you realize their words are nothing but smoke and you are fire? What if right now, you made the decision to stop letting someone else hold the pen that writes your story? Because here's the cliffhanger you didn't see coming. Most people who bully, they quit after day one. Most of them never even notice the scars they leave. But the ones who suffer, they carry those scars for years, unless they choose differently. Unless you choose differently. And that's why you're here, isn't it? Not to be told, ignore it and move on, but to finally hear that you can take back the power they tried to steal, that you can stop giving the loudest voice in your life to the weakest people in the room. So here's my invitation to you. Stay with me. Don't click away. Don't let distraction rob you of this moment, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to flip the script, how to stop being the target and become the one who decides what frequency you live on. If you've ever felt the weight of bullying crush your chest, this is your moment. Hit subscribe right now, because we're about to go deep into the truth no one tells you. The truth that can turn your pain into power, your silence into a voice, and your shame into light. And if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it, stay with me. Let's go deeper. Because if you've ever been bullied, you already know the surface. The sting of the words, the echo of the laughter, the way your stomach sinks when you hear your name twisted into something ugly. But bullying doesn't just stop there. It's not only about the moment it happens. It digs in, it lingers. It builds a home inside your head if you let it. And that's the real danger. Not the insult itself, but the way you start rehearsing it in your own mind. You replay it in the shower. You hear it again when you're lying in bed. You even anticipate it the next morning before anything happens. That's how bullying works. It programs you to bully yourself long after they've gone home. Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself finishing their sentence in your own thoughts? They don't even have to show up anymore because the virus is already in your system. And here's the sick irony. Most bullies don't even remember what they said. They throw words like knives, but for them, it's just another Tuesday. Meanwhile, you're left bleeding for years. But what if I told you that the wound only keeps bleeding because you've been taught to believe it matters? What if I told you that their words only carry weight because somewhere you agreed to carry them? Here's the first cliffhanger. Pain is not always chosen, but suffering is. Now stay with me, because this isn't about blaming you. It's about handing the knife back to its owner. See, the psychology of a bully is simple. They are desperate for control, desperate to cover their own insecurities, desperate to transfer their internal storm onto someone else. They spot light and feel threatened. They see difference and call it weakness. They notice your authenticity and they can't handle it. So what do? They try to smash it. They try to dim it, because if your light keeps shining, it exposes the cracks in theirs. But here's the thing, most people never tell you. The reason you were chosen as a target wasn't because you were weak. It was because on some level you stood out, and standing out terrifies those who depend on blending in. Look closely at history. Every voice that carried power once carried ridicule. Every innovator was once mocked. Every person who changed the game was first told they didn't belong. So maybe, just maybe, the very thing that made you a target is the same thing that makes you unstoppable. Pause here. Take that in, because if you don't flip this narrative inside yourself, the shadow of bullying follows you into adulthood. It shows up in your career, where you hesitate to speak. It shows up in relationships, where you settle for less than you deserve. It shows up in the way you see yourself every single morning. And I know some of you listening right now, you've carried this weight for decades. School ended, but the echo didn't. The bullies disappeared, but their voices stayed. Here's another cliffhanger. You're still letting ghosts rent space in your mind, but tell me why? Why do we give squatters' rights to people who never paid a single ounce of love into our lives? Why let them camp out in your soul when they don't even remember your name? You see, the tragedy is not that they bullied you. The tragedy is that you believed them. And now, right here, right now, is where you get to decide. Do you keep rehearsing their lines, or do you start writing your own? Because you have a choice. You always did. Imagine this. Your mind is a giant screen. Bullying is just one channel playing. Static, noise, reruns of cruelty. But here's the truth. They don't own the remote. You do. So why keep tuning into the station that poisons you? Why not switch the channel? Yes, the static is loud at first. Yes, it feels like that's the only thing broadcasting. But give it time. Search through the channels. You'll find one where your voice is calm, one where your reflection is whole, one where your story is not stolen. And maybe right now you're thinking, that sounds great, but how? How do I switch the damn channel when the noise feels louder than me? Here's how. You don't fight the noise. You replace it. Every insult they gave you, you overwrite it with a truth they never had access to. Every time they told you, you're nothing, you rehearse, I am already enough. Every time they laughed at your difference, you whisper, my difference is my power. It's not easy at first. It feels fake. It feels like lying to yourself. But the more you repeat it, the more it rewires your frequency. And soon their voice fades, and yours grows louder. That's the path out. Not pretending it never hurt, but refusing to let hurt be the only song you play. Let me give you a story. There was a boy who stuttered. Every time he spoke in class, the bullies pounced. Spit it out, they shouted. He started staying silent. For years, silence was his safety. But one day he realized silence was also his prison. So he flipped the script. He started practicing speeches alone. He recorded himself. He stumbled, he failed, he kept going. Years later, that boy became a speaker. The same voice they mocked became the voice thousands paid to hear. That's what happens when you stop letting them write your ending. And maybe your story isn't about stuttering. Maybe it's about your body, your skin, your accent, your passions. Whatever it is, hear me. The thing they attacked is often the thing you're here to use. The gift they tried to bury is the very thing that can set you free. So the question is, will you keep rehearsing their lines? Or will you begin today rehearsing your own? Because I promise you this, the moment you decide to flip that switch, to stop being the audience of their cruelty and start being the author of your truth, that's the moment the frequency changes. So here we are. You've heard the echo. You've seen how bullying can carve into a person's identity like acid dripping on stone. You've felt the way it lingers, sometimes for years, sometimes for a lifetime. But now, let's talk about freedom. Because yes, you can be free. Not by erasing what happened, but by rewriting what it means. Think about it. Trauma doesn't vanish when ignored. It vanishes when transformed. And transformation begins with one radical decision, refusing to be defined by wounds you didn't choose. Here's the truth they never told you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you do with what happened to you. Feel the difference. Because if bullying was a fire that once burned through your confidence, here's the secret. You're not the ashes. You're the flame that survived. And a flame that survives fire is stronger than fire itself. Let's be brutally honest for a second. Healing doesn't feel pretty. It feels like war. War against the memories that sneak in at 3 a.m. War against the trembling in your chest when someone raises their voice. War against the part of you that still believes their lies. And yet, warriors are not born in peace. They are forged in fire. And you, whether you know it or not, are already forged. But here's the shift. You don't have to stay a warrior forever. The goal is not to fight forever. The goal is to live again, to laugh again, to walk into a room without shrinking, to look in the mirror without flinching. And yes, it's possible. More possible than you think. So how do we transmute pain into power? Step 1, acknowledgement. Pretending it didn't hurt keeps the wound open. Naming it is how you begin to close it. Say it. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it shaped me. But no, it will not define me. Step 2, detachment. Understand this. Their cruelty was never about you. It was always about them. Their storm, their insecurities, their chaos looking for a container. And they tried to make you the container. But you don't have to carry their storm anymore. Step 3, rewriting. This is where alchemy happens. Every insult you internalized, you flip. You're too different. Translation, I am unique. You'll never matter. Translation, my existence is proof that I already matter. You don't belong. Translation, I was never meant to fit a broken system. I was meant to create my own. Step 4. Expansion. Take the energy that once crushed you and let it become the fuel that builds you. Channel it into art, into your work, into your relationships, into your voice. Because the universe has this strange law: energy never dies. It only changes form. And if you let it, your pain can become the most magnetic form of power you've ever held. But let's go deeper, because I know what some of you are thinking. It's too late. The damage is already done. I'm too broken. Let me say this clearly. You are not broken. You are bent. And bending is not breaking. Bending is proof that you're flexible, adaptable, alive. Think of trees. The strongest ones are not the ones that never sway. They are the ones that bend in storms and rise again. That's you. You are the tree that still stands after the storm that tried to uproot you. Let me share another story. There was a girl who spent years being mocked for her weight. Every day, jokes, whispers, stares. She started skipping meals, hiding from mirrors, punishing herself for existing. But one day she decided no more. She stopped starving herself, not to prove the bullies wrong, but to prove herself right. She began feeding her body with strength, her mind with truth, her soul with compassion. Years later, she wasn't just living. She was leading workshops on body confidence. She had become the role model she once desperately needed. And that's the essence of transformation, becoming the version of yourself your younger self needed. Now let's talk about forgiveness. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you refuse to drink poison every morning. It means you reclaim your energy from the past, because every ounce of energy you waste hating them is an ounce you could be spending loving yourself. And isn't that the greatest revenge? Not to become like them, but to become untouchable. Here's another cliffhanger. The opposite of bullying is not silence. It's self-expression. The more you express, the less power their voices have. The more you live authentically, the more irrelevant their lies become. So speak, sing, write, create, love. Do whatever reminds you that you are alive. You are whole. You are not their puppet. And listen, maybe you're hearing this right now with tears running down your face. Maybe it's the first time someone told you, it wasn't your fault. So let me say it again. It wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve the pain. You didn't deserve the cruelty. And you sure as hell don't deserve to carry it anymore. So tonight, when you lie down, I want you to ask yourself one question. Who do I become once I let this go? That's your cliffhanger. That's the beginning of the rest of your story. Because here's the secret ending. You've always been more than a target. You've always been more than the scars. You've always been more than the lies they tried to plant. And if you've listened this far, then something inside you already knows. It's time. Time to rise. Time to release. Time to transmute. So now it's your turn. Don't just let this video end and drift back into silence. Take action. For yourself. For the version of you that once sat in the back of the classroom, praying the bell would ring. Hit subscribe if you're ready to keep rewriting your story with us. Leave a comment sharing one lie you're ready to let go of, and the truth you're choosing instead. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it right now. Because when one of us heals, all of us rise. This isn't the end of your story. This is the first chapter of your rebirth.